The song Bodies by the Sex Pistols is one of the most disturbing and controversial of any of their releases. This song is often considered to be an anti-abortion song, in part because of its very detailed and gory discussions of an abortion and its aftermath. Johnny Rotten, the singer and lyricist for the song, said that it wasn't pro-abortion, it wasn't anti-abortion, that it was about something a little more immediate than that, that nobody should bring a baby into the world and then not care a toss for it, as he puts it. And I think that the point here isn't to be on the level of law or on the level even of social morality, but rather the immediacy of the fact that we have to confront our own bodily nature and the ambivalence to which that gives rise. And so, on the one hand, over and over again, Johnny Rotten sings about how this woman who has the abortion is just an animal, that nobody wants a baby like that, and discusses, like I said, in some rather gruesome detail, the elements of the abortion and the aftermath, the fact that the baby is then reduced to just a body, in this case a dead body. And then over and over again, Johnny Rotten's also saying, body, I'm not an animal, right? So this distinction that he's trying to make between the fact that we're all animals and not feeling like an animal or not wanting to be reduced to simply an animal. The song is a good example, then, I think, of the way in which issues of ugliness are exploited and explored in punk music. The chord progression itself isn't that far off from chord progressions that we've heard in music going back at least the last 20 years from the mid 50s. So you start off with this figure that could easily be outlining G to E minor as an intro, right? And then when the song actually kicks in, we go to a B minor chord that's just repeated like that. What's interesting is what he's singing over it, right? Not just the words, which, as you'll hear or as you'll read when you look at them and when you listen to the song, are quite brutal. But the way he's singing, the note that he's singing in his typical high-pitched voice and delivery, he's singing this E over it, right? So there's this way in which the E, of course, doesn't belong to that chord, and so it feels out of place. So you have the pedal on the B, and then eventually we get to the F sharp. It's dominant. And back. And then when it actually gets to the chorus, we have a progression in D, so the relative major to B, just 4, 5, up to 1. But what he's singing over that, again, are notes that don't exactly fit with the chords except in an extended sense. So over the G, he's actually singing an F sharp. And over the A, he's singing a G natural. And then he stays on that G natural, although it's a little fuzzy as to exactly what his pitch is, above the D. And you get a sense that we're supposed to hear that G resolved to the F sharp, but his sense of pitch is so let's say loose, that it's hard to tell one way or the other. But that's there's something very interesting about that. If we play it almost as though it's an arrangement for jazz guitar or something, you can hear that high F sharp going to the G, and then a kind of suspension. But when you actually hear him sing it, at times he's saying body, and at times he's saying mommy, which I think is also significant, right? That there's a sort of Freudian aspect here, that he's calling out to his mother that he doesn't want to just be a body, and of course he's substituting himself in some ways for the aborted baby. But he's singing that body, I'm not an animal. And so that mole kind of almost feels like a resolution without being a complete resolution, because it's more of a dropping off, right? Kind of a dropping off there. So notice where this leaves us. We have an intro in G, a verse in B minor, and a chorus in D. The overall Progression obviously tilting toward D. It's end related, as much tonal music is. And it's a familiar enough progression, a familiar enough set of relationships. But that's not what's important here to the communication of the message. What's important is the disjuncture, the lack of fit between the way he's singing and the words that he's saying and the underlying familiarity of the progression. What might seem comforting chord wise is then put in juxtaposition with things that are very distressing as far as vocal delivery and lyric delivery are concerned. This is communicating then the lack of fit between the human and his existential situation. This is the pain of existence.